Hey, students of iMarkets Live! The following Crypto Academy video is designed to help you understand the differences between centralization and decentralization. Remember, we're all learning together and it's essential you implement the knowledge within. Should you accept the full risk and responsibility, please continue forward with the training now. This lesson will answer the following questions. Before we continue, pause the video, read through them, and be certain to minimize any distractions. When we look at the infrastructure of cryptocurrency, there are 5 key variables that must be taken into account: trust, security, transparency, identity, and control. It takes a lifetime to build a good reputation, but you can lose it in one instance because trust can be abused by those who are trusted, whether it's directly or indirectly intended. There are variables such as internal corruption within specific team members, fraudulent activity, external threats, or even hacking, which will damage the trust across all parties involved. And no government can even guarantee security. Centralized networks are susceptible targets because all of the sensitive information is hosted within one area rather than distributed across many. Decentralized sources are very powerful, and we're going to take a look at that. Cryptocurrency is designed to make information unalterable without detection, and certain systems, such as Bitcoin's blockchain, promote this element of transparency by making financial data publicly available. Where there is no integrity, there will also be no responsibility. So we must hold each other accountable, especially when we look at the upcoming growth and opportunity within the cryptocurrency space. Having that higher level of awareness and education to be certain that we are protecting our investments is going to allow us to share this industry in a very positive way. It's difficult to appreciate anonymity until it's no longer available. When it comes to your identity with cryptocurrency, there is a certain level of remaining anonymous. Because even though something like Bitcoin's blockchain provides the public with access to financial data, you can only see the quantity that is being stored on the blockchain itself. You can't actually see who specifically sent money to or from another person. The primary purpose of this transparency is to show that the transactions are happening and to take all of that volume into account without the opportunity for anybody to tamper with it. If quantum computing becomes mainstream, then of course there is always going to be that potential where this anonymity is no longer viable. But until then, it is in our best interest to take control of our finances and to tap into this expansive industry. Regardless of where you choose to bank, they can freeze your assets at any time. If you utilize a big company like Visa or MasterCard, they can block you from doing transactions. Centralized locations like the Federal Reserve in the United States can print new money at any time and devalue the US dollar. If a centralized location has control over the money supply, they have the power to play by a different set of rules than you and I. So let's go and explore each model further and take a look at centralization and decentralization so we can understand the differences and benefits. Centralized platforms typically require all data to pass through one central server or hub. which makes it very easy to monitor any actions or information within the network. Some examples include traditional banking institutions. Although JP Morgan hasn't always had their clients' best interest in mind, we can see cases like this through the SEC, and perhaps we could even talk about that time where 5,300 Wells Fargo's employees opened fake accounts using real people's information just to meet a sales quota, which caused unnecessary and unexpected fees and credit scores to be impacted without any consent at all. If we look at the federal government, right now in the United States, all of the major decisions are made in one location, just Washington. There's talks about global debt crisis, and when you think about that, who does the world owe all of this money to anyways, when we can just print it? If the price of a cryptocurrency is going to fluctuate based upon supply and demand, then it moves in the complete opposite direction when we think about centralization. We have businesses like Facebook, Google, and PayPal where they have control over all of that data. And some cryptocurrencies are questionably close to being centralized assets. When we talk about the price of an asset, the cryptocurrency itself, if the creator of that token must stay alive in order for the cryptocurrency to remain valuable, it's not truly decentralized. We can also talk about how the speed and scalability of that platform, if it relies on centralized nodes, then it's not truly decentralized. The Ripple protocol, very popular cryptocurrency, they have the power to freeze users' account balances. If the gateway exchange has this feature enabled, they can go as far as to block other cryptocurrencies that are within your wallet. They can even go and freeze the fiat currency that you have sitting in your account so that you can't make any withdrawals if you own as much as even one Ripple.
This would only be implemented if there was fraudulent activity suspected, but it's still important to be aware of.
So take these things into account when you're making the decision to invest in particular projects. I have nothing against Ripple, but with respect to the underlying technology, you have to understand the differences between centralization and decentralization in order to have more clarity on what sort of investments you'd like to make, looking at the long-term potential of this industry. Decentralized platforms operate peer-to-peer networks and can be used for things beyond currency, especially with the new technology we see across the cryptocurrency industry. If you've ever used the discontinued software LimeWire for music sharing, that is an example of a decentralized platform. The benefits of utilizing these types of systems is that we essentially eliminate the middleman. Even though we're going to see new types of banks and exchanges coming into existence, it's going to minimize the fraud, transaction fees, and really promote transparency because there's no concern of people creating copies of any specific cryptocurrency you could consider investing in. Beyond the financial sectors, we could even see this technology be used for internet voting, intellectual property registration, identity management, and even something like inventory. When we take a look at Bitcoin's blockchain and why it's such a powerful concept, miners around the world right now are being rewarded to maintain the network by solving random algorithms, and they're simultaneously competing for this reward because every 10 minutes a new block of transactions are updated waiting to be solved. The more computing power that these miners have, they naturally receive better odds. Think of it like this: if you play the lottery and you buy more tickets, mathematically speaking, you have a better chance of winning. Once a computer finds a solution to this random algorithm, it reports it on the blockchain and is rewarded for being the first one to solve it successfully. And then all the other computers have to verify its accuracy and add the block onto the public blockchain database so that everybody has an opportunity to see what exactly is happening. In summary, centralized entities do have control over what data shows in their system, whereas no one actually owns blockchain technology. There are hundreds of thousands of computers around the world that are building this network, and we're seeing more and more decentralized platforms come into existence as technology expands. It's very important that we do our due diligence before making an investment and position ourselves appropriately so we can capitalize on all of this abundant opportunity. Be sure to leverage our resources and actually implement the education, because all trading requires is persistence, discipline, and acceptance that you can learn this skill set.